Gemma, Crystal Palace up next in the league at home. Will it be nice to finally get back to Bamber Bridge after what's been a long time away?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you always want to play at home to avoid the travel, and there's no short trip in this league. Well, maybe Liverpool, that's our shortest, but there's no particularly short trip in this league. So yeah, of course, we're looking forward to playing on grass and at home, and have some of the new players also visit our home ground and hopefully start to pick up some points.
And how do you kind of assess how things have gone so far this year? A loss away at London City and then the draw with Charlton. How do you kind of assess things so far?
Well, obviously it's not the start that we would have hoped for. I think the girls earned a hard fought point away at the weekend to Charlton, and despite the number of opportunities that were created, they obviously left disappointed that they hadn't picked up 3 points. But I guess if you compare that to the start of the season when we played Charlton, and it was a similar story in that we dominated the game, and it was cruel because literally the last kick of the game, we gave away a sloppy ball and they scored from it, and therefore they picked up all 3 points at our home ground. So I guess it's an improvement in that respect, because this time round we were able to come away with a point, and it's always difficult to travel away, especially in these circumstances as well. So I guess, a point's better than nothing. With regards to the London City game, I think, we're disappointed with the scoreline. It's the heaviest defeat of the season. And whilst I don't want to sit here and make excuses, I think at this time of the third lockdown and the pandemic and coronavirus being so widespread, ultimately you've got players that are returning from having COVID, and that can take 2 weeks, it can take 6 weeks, it can take however long it needs to take. And then you've got new players or players picking up COVID. So whilst obviously we were in a position to field a team, we probably weren't in a position to field a team that, number one, had game time. So they hadn't played in 5 weeks, and in this type of environment and the elite status of the environment, by anybody's reckoning, that's not good enough, because how can you possibly be match fit? So that's number one. Number two, we had players returning from COVID that had been out for various durations, and so whilst they were deemed fit, were they match fit? Probably not. And number three, you had players out with COVID. So, and what I want to say is that London City were very good when they played against us, and we were very fortunate to come away with all 3 points. And we knew that they were going to be a stern test upon the return leg, and that was the case. We knew that they were going to be a solid team, and they were deserved of the victory on the day. But was it a 3-0? And was it a like for like comparison to when we've played them previously? No, it wasn't. And so, despite the difficult start to the season, and we've picked up 4 points from a possible 18, I think, what we've got to remember is that we've had 4 draws, 2 losses. The 2 losses have come against Leicester, that are unbeaten for a number of games, and the second loss has come against London City, who of course have enjoyed a good start to the second part of the season, and have had game time whilst we have not. So, I'm the first one that will not make excuses for the team if they haven't played well, but I think with all things considered, I've got to give them a bit of a break in this particular game, because we weren't in a position to field a fit and what I would consider probably the strongest starting 11 for various reasons. So we gave what we could, and I thought they gave a very good account of themselves. I don't think 3-0 was a fair reflection of the game, but London City took their chances and we did not, and that's football.
On to the Palace game then, a team you beat away from home 3-2, but they've impressed at times this season, and you'll be looking forward to a really stern test as well on Sunday.
Yeah, there's no team in this league, and I've said it before, that is a team that you think, oh well, that's a given, that's 3 points in this particular game. There's no team. Crystal Palace have been a little bit hit and miss over the course of the season, and we played them away, and it was a dramatic last kick of the ball winner for us. Were we at our best when we played them away? Probably not. I think we upped our game second half. But I expect, again, a solid challenge from Crystal Palace. But it's time this week that the girls need to ensure that they're making those chances count, and that we're not in a position whereby we're falling behind and then we have to start chasing. We need to play our own game, and we need to work incredibly hard, and we need to start eradicating the faults, because we've conceded a number of goals of late. It was probably quite pleasing in the Charlton game that we only conceded one, because it seems to be the trend of the last 3 or 4 games that we've conceded 3 in each game, from having a number of clean sheets. So that's something that we're focused on. So yeah, it will be a stern test. There's no doubt in that. That's what we expect from Crystal Palace. But you should also know, and we're working really hard in improving our performances and turning those 1 points into 3 points, and we expect that, and I will be demanding that starts from this weekend.